In our last video, we talked about Japanese current events. If you haven't watched that yet, I suggest you watch it first. If you have, keep on watching. In this video, we're going to be giving you an overview in timeline form of Japanese history.
In 1853, after 200 years of self-imposed isolation, U.S. forces make Japan open its borders and country to foreign influence.
In 1868, the multiple century-long rule by the shogun military caste ends. The Empire of Japan is created and the country starts a period of quick industrialization. This leads to Japan having trading dominance over all of East Asia.
From 1894 to 1895, Japan goes to war with China. With Japan having a better equipped army, Japan wins the war in just 9 months. This war results in China ceding Taiwan and giving Japan permits to trade on the mainland.
When Japan routs Russia in Manchuria in 1904, it becomes the first Asian country in the modern era to defeat a European power.
In 1910, after 3 years of fighting, Japan annexes Korea. This leads to Japan becoming a leading power in the world.
In 1914, Japan enters World War I, entering on the side of Britain and its allies. The end of the war results in Japan gaining Pacific Islands from Germany.
In 1923, an earthquake hits the Tokyo area, killing at least 100,000 people. In the same year, Britain ends its alliance with Japan, which had lasted for 21 years. The end of the alliance shows how Western countries, including America, noticed that East Asia was increasing in power.
Sometime in the late 1920s, an extreme version of nationalism spread across Japan. With the world as a whole experiencing a depression, the country decided to focus on traditional Japanese values. While focusing on traditional values, the country decided to reject the influence of Western countries.
In 1932, with the prime minister at the time killed by a failed coup conducted by nationalist army officers, there's increasing military influence over Japan. Need a break or time to review? You've got 10 seconds to do so.
In 1936, Japan creates an alliance with Nazi Germany.
Later, in 1937, Japan goes to war with China. While at war with China, Japan captures Shanghai, Beijing, and Nanjing. One of the many atrocious things that the Japanese forces do during this time is the rape of Nanking, which involves the killing of 300,000 civilians. In 1945, 2 American planes drop bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. After the bombing, Emperor Hirohito surrenders and gives up his divine status. Additionally, Japan is controlled by U.S. military government. Under the U.S. military government, the Japanese military and naval forces are disbanded. In 1993, the famous speech known as the Kona Statement is given by the Japanese government. In the statement, the military government apologizes for the use of sex slaves by the Japanese military during wartime.
In 1995, an earthquake hits Japan, killing thousands. The earthquake hits the city of Kobe especially hard. In March of the same year, a deadly nerve gas called sarin is released onto the Tokyo Underground Railway system. The attack performed by a religious sect called Atum Shinriko injured thousands and killed 12 people. In September of 2002, Koizumi becomes the first Japanese leader to visit North Korea. During his visit, North Korean leader Kim Jong-il apologizes for abductions of Japanese citizens from the 1970s to the 1980s. He also confirms that 8 of the abductees are dead. By the end of his visit, he is allowed to bring 5 Japanese nationals home.
2008, after a 4-year dispute, both Japan and China are able to compromise on a deal for a joint development of a gas field in the East China Sea. 2012, despite local protests, Japan restarts the Oi nuclear reactor. It is the first since the meltdown at the Fukushima power plant the previous year.
In 2013, thanks to weaker yen, exports rise 10.1%, which is the fastest annual rate since 2010. This gives a boost to Prime Minister Abe's economic recovery plan. In the same year, Tokyo is chosen to host the 2020 Olympics. In 2015, at the Sendai plant, Japan restarts its first nuclear reactor. The restart occurs under new safety rules created after the 2011 Fukushima disaster. As much as we would love to discuss more Japanese history, we can't do that without going over 5 minutes. If you wish to learn more about Japanese history, check out our sources.
If you want to learn more about Japan in general, I suggest you subscribe to us. Subscribing is free and should notify you when we upload a video. Stick around, you might learn something.